Hello, welcome to the channel. This is Matt the Coding Sensei, and we're back with another one and another one. So today we're going to be going over local development environments for our development. Specifically, I will be talking about WordPress Studio, which is what I'm going to recommend at the end of this conversation. But over the years, over my career, I've used various local builds and kind of understood the power and the reasoning behind using some of these tools. And of course, companies are different. You know, your personal preference is different, so those are all going to be taken into account. You know, you work for a company that uses Docker, you're gonna have to learn Docker, right? You're not really gonna have a choice, but yeah, let's take a brief overview of some of the local development environments and their strengths and weaknesses. So, got my little bit of cafecito right there. So the first one is I'm just gonna go over is Docker. Basically, it works in sort of a similar way as a virtual machine. So it's kind of technology agnostic, but it has its own terminology, which it calls containers, which is going to hold the state of your application, and it has its own its own documentation, its own way of going through things. Now, Docker is a good choice. The learning curve on it is going to be a bit more, and depending on what kind of website or what kind of application you're trying to build, is ultimately you're gonna decide if you need something like this. Okay, I would say that if you're developing in WordPress, if you're working with any sort of application, Docker is going to be fine. But I think that it's a little bit overkill if you're a freelancer, or if you're looking to just jump into something and not have to read through a lot of this documentation. So, number one, use the web developer tool, and of course you can go through stuff like this. So the pricing on it, you know, it's not too bad. Unlimited public repositories, Docker desktop. I guess that's going to make it easier for you to publish stuff. So pricing is a big factor in this. We really have to consider it. So far for personal, it's at $0, but if you want private repositories, you would have to go with the Pro. So that's something right there. Now, varying vagrants is a technology that I used when I first started my first job. This was something that they used. It's pretty much a local environment that uses a virtual box to create your WordPress, and it also says PHP applications, but as far as I know, I used it for WordPress. Now, it has changed a bit, and I know that the new version of it doesn't support the new version of VirtualBox, is my understanding. This is also a good solution. It's free, by the way, and I've used it with success in the past, but if I'm not mistaken, it actually is not supporting the newest version of VirtualBox, and it is prone to a few errors on that end. So yeah, it's a good one, but once again, we're probably gonna pass. So XAMPP is similar to MAMP, except it's going to be from my understanding, it's like the Windows version of MAMP, right? So, but it looks like they have it for OS X now. So that's that's interesting. And as far as I understand, I think that I don't think it's free. I think you may have to pay for it, but um, I haven't. I code on Mac, so I don't really use XAMPP. But yeah, so let's jump into MAMP. So MAMP is something I've used pretty extensively. Um, most web development or companies that I've worked for on the development team were using MAMP, and MAMP is nice because it basically allows you to run PHP web applications. Um, it specializes in PHP, so if you're building a PHP app, or you really want a local environment where you can mess around with the database and all that kind of stuff, then MAMP is pretty good. It also supports WordPress, but MAMP is a PHP first local environment that supports WordPress. So let's be clear on that. And then of course it does cost money. I do have the pro version for life. I think it's for life. I think it costs for me to upgrade a little bit less, but I don't really use MAMP anymore. MAMP is really, I think, a bit overkill if you're trying to build a website using WordPress. If you're trying to build a big PHP application, then MAMP is pretty good for that. But you may have to learn it if you're working for a company that uses it. Now, local by Flywheel is interesting because you see, here's the kind of the fox paws, the issue with local environment to your live environment, right? So usually in a company, I'll give a few separate examples. I've worked for some companies where you're working in a page builder. There really isn't a local environment on your computer. You're kind of doing what's cowboy coding, and you're doing the code on a staging environment before it goes live. Okay, I've worked as a sole developer in a company. I've worked on teams. Some of the more fancy, or some of the more illustrious companies, I had a local environment. Then I pushed it to a staging environment where a senior developer would check my code, and then ultimately it would go live. And the live version is, of course, the website being live. It's on the web. It's on the web to be seen. And a lot of those issues that were popping up were, for example, we're using MAMP on our local, and on the hosting that's controlling our live websites. It's using locally. I'm using Apache. On the live website, it's using Nginx, which is like a newer version of a server environment. So those kind of things will affect some plugins. They will affect the performance of the website. The website could break. Local by Flywheel is something that, because it has, excuse me, my throat here, because it has complete integration from local to live, it kind of gets rid of all those hiccups when we are taking a website from local to live, because the local server environment matches our live server environment completely. So if it works on the local, it's 100% going to work on the live. And as you can see here, local by Flywheel is specifically made for WordPress. It's not like MAMP where it's PHP applications that supports WordPress. This is something that works specifically for WordPress. As you can see, the thing with this, and of course, it has Magic Sync. It has live links, so you're able to create staging URLs, and a staging URL is, of course, sometimes important. I've worked for companies that didn't give their um, clients a staging environment. They pretty much um, that wasn't done. Let me see image optimizer. So when you have control over the hosting, which is where your website lives, basically, you're able to have plugins and things on that environment to either cache or do various things. So I think that the biggest con to this is, of course, the pricing. This is not free. You have to pay month to month, is my understanding. So, and I think it also supports WP Engine hosting. So it kind of integrates very well if you choose to combine these technologies. But since we're going to be mostly pretty much be working in WordPress, and that's what I'm going to be teaching, what I found out is WordPress actually has a local environment called WordPress Studio. Now, WordPress Studio is the bomb. First of all, because it's free, okay? That's super important. And it's built by WordPress, and it's meant to be used. Let's see. I think it might just be for Mac. But basically, all you have to do is download it. You create a WordPress.com account, and you have your local environment created for you, and it integrates, I mean, perfectly with WordPress. And from my understanding, it is free unless you decide. I think there's some other upgrades that you can get, and usually I don't recommend WordPress specific hosting, but in this case, I mean, it's made by WordPress. I mean, you're not gonna get better than that, really. But yeah, so let's take a look at, because I have it here installed because it's what I use. So once you have it installed, so as you can see here, you're able to have your websites right here, and these are some of the projects that are going to be in my course. But from here, all you would have to do is hit start. So let's hit start, and of course it gives you access to the WP admin. It gives you access to the website. Okay, so everything is done for you. Okay, the power in this is that you get and then look, see, you can open it up in your Finder window, you can open up in Terminal, I can open it up in VS Code, so it's automatically going to, just going to say yes, so it's automatically going to open up this file, this folder in VS Code, and from here I can automatically start messing around with it, start building it out, and it's really the best environment if you're building websites in WordPress, period. Okay, it's completely modern, it's completely ready to go. I haven't had any issues, any sort of downtime with it, and it's constantly being upgraded by WordPress, so it's super official. So if you haven't already, I would strongly suggest that you get this, and you can see your WP version, your WordPress version, and like I said, it's on your local environment, which means your computer that you use. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options out there. If you're going to be coding in WordPress, I would strongly suggest this. And as we go forward in my tutorials, I'm going to be using it. So um, yeah, go ahead and download it and get on it. And thanks for tuning in. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned for more everything web development, everything IT.